as I went and watched the videos, much like we do for other games that we like how to succeed in this game, once I realized, once I do get in there, I'm gonna want to buy a better vehicle.
Don't tell people we watch those videos. No, listeners, we're naturally really good at these games that we play. It comes natural to us. We were born with that talent, and our thumbs just move that fast.
Yeah.
We do not watch videos on how to be better.
I just look for the dinosaurs. Oh, look, there he is.
Oh, it's that easy? Man, my Discord is just blowing up sauce. How's it going, man?
Good, man. It's good to see you.
See, the listeners don't even know that this is like the third time that we've hit record.
Yeah, it's hard.
See, everyone out there, we're trying to bring you perfection. We're trying to bring you some perfection, some audio perfection over here. But man, yeah, this is actually the third's the charm. Record, click.
That's right. Yeah, the third time is the charm, and this is the one. I feel good.
Much excitement with this episode, so we're going to get right into it. Welcome, listeners, gamers, non-gamers, PvEers, PvPers, and even NPCs. We do not discriminate. I'm Ovox.
And I'm ChukTomahawk.
The Chuck T and Ovox. We're coming at you with our 6th installment of New Wave Gaming Podcast. We're very excited to have you all here. We hope you enjoy this episode. And if you're a new listener, thank you for giving us an opportunity. We hope you enjoy. This here is a New Wave Gaming episode, if ever there was one. Wouldn't you say, Chuck T?
For sure. I'm riding that wave right now.
Because it's the third try and you're about to come through that screen and kick my ass.
Held down on the bottom by that wave right now. Don't know which way's up. Deep breath.
Well, hey,
right.
Yeah, we want to jump right in with this one because it's really a new topic for us as well, and we're going to be learning about it with you, and we're going to try and have the funnest time we can with it. And before we do get into it, if you want to check us out, we got a Facebook page up. You can find us at facebook.com/New Wave Gaming Podcast. All one word, all together, no capitals or underscores, anything like that. We've also got our email, which is ovoxandchuk@google.com. That's ovoxandchuk@gmail.com. And we got a YouTube page too, if you'd rather check us out there. We appreciate the love, support, and all that fun stuff. Oh, man.
Yeah, baby.
Blockchain games, play to earn, NFTs. Whew. ¿Dónde empezamos, mi hermano?
See, where?
So first thing that comes to my mind is in-game skins. I'm thinking skins. I'm thinking special skins on weapons. I'm thinking if it's a card game, I'm thinking power-up cards, boosters. If we go over to, what other kinds of in-game items come to your mind, man? With survival games, for example, collecting resources.
Definitely, even get to get specific, like in Ark, I could see possibly breeding up a dinosaur that maybe you got some sort of NFT rights to that you could disseminate. That might be interesting. I think, it almost seems like these things have kind of existed before, like in certain ways. I've heard of people buying dinosaurs on eBay in Ark.
Yeah, dude, they're hustling the shit out of them wyverns, man. You go onto the right Discord, man, you can get some tames, baby.
Yeah.
And just like with another game, I'm sure there's people out there that are, making dough off of, putting in the work, if you will, wink, wink, on these video games.
Yeah, and I think you've got some sort of sovereignty here, like as I understand the way these blockchains work, it'll make it a little harder to fake that, and for me to reproduce that skin some nefarious way. So
there we go. Yeah. So why are we talking about? Why is it that skins came to my mind, and Chuck T and I are bouncing these kind of like skins resources, items, crafting, because it seems like in this new era, perhaps, this new environment of blockchain games or NFT games, or play to earn games, you've got an environment where a given game that participates or that uses blockchain technology has perhaps its own inventory of skins, of specialty items, cards, if it's a card game, wherein you can actually own these items. Forgive the redundancy. So that's why I automatically think about, you know, the skins that we have for our weapons in Warzone, or, you know, our power-ups, or the emblems or little trinkets that we can hang on the, you know, all that stuff is starting to exist in these other games where you can have direct ownership over them and actually perhaps sell them, trade them, or cross, you know, I was going to say cross bring, but I don't think that's an actual word. Where you can bring your stuff. Yeah, exactly. You can. Oh man. Yeah, so you can bring your stuff to the next blockchain game, or, you know, other game where they use that type of technology. So that's just fascinating, man.
It is. And, you know, something I don't know that I ever really thought about till we started looking at this is that, like it or not, there kind of is an in-game economy that develops in every game. Like even now, like say in Call of Duty, like you mentioned, like as you progress through that game, you do get some rewards for that. And when you're showing them, you're not necessarily getting a monetary return for that, but you're getting the clout of you know, maybe having that skin and
yeah.
You know, I mentioned to you the other day, there's that one Shanghai warrior looking skin. When I see someone with that, I do think this is going to be a problem. Like, he's going to have some good movement. Like,
this is good. You mean in Warzone?
Yeah,
dude. Oh,
yeah. There's that one. It's like a Shogun Warrior one, and I just from my own personal experience, it's the guy that's going to slide right up under my feet, and you know,
just blast you or knife you, get your Achilles.
Yeah. So I guess it carries some clout in that respect, and even back in the day, I knew these folks that played this game called EverQuest. It was a large online, you know, massive multiplayer type situation, and you heard of people like building up a character and selling it, like, you know, and I think as you get more and more in-depth games that require hundreds of hours to sort of get to the place where you know, you've got the shield that you can go to the castle with, or, you know, now, or whatever that you've been wanting to do, like that, like it or not, there was already an in-game economy, and it just, you know, as I understand it, these things are sort of creating a ledger of sorts that, you know, we can have a real value to this, and you know,
yeah,
it's interesting.
Dude, it's
and
so
I think
interesting.
it's coming whether we like it or not.
It is, man. It really, I have to agree there. And, you know, maybe towards the end of this episode, we can kind of touch on how we feel about blockchain games, and if, you know, if we can see ourselves getting into that, we can actually address a couple of deeper philosophical gaming questions maybe in this episode. But hey, real quick, just for fun, let's use a cheat code real quick, a good old Google cheat code, and just define the blockchain game. I'm gonna use the good old wiki real quick and just read this for our listeners. We've got here, and I quote: "A blockchain game, also known as an NFT game or a crypto game, is a video game that includes elements that use cryptography-based blockchain technologies. Blockchain elements in these games are most often based on the use of cryptocurrency or non-fungible tokens, which players can buy, sell, or trade with other players, with the game publisher taking a fee from each transaction as a form of monetization. A subset of these games are also known as play-to-earn games because they include systems that allow players to earn cryptocurrency through gameplay. While blockchain games have been available since 2017, blockchain games have only gathered the attention of the video game industry starting in 2021, with several AAA publishers having expressed intent to explore their potential as well as criticism from players, developers, and companies within the game industry. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's just a quick definition of what we're looking at here.
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons that is you see those AAA game developers getting involved. That's when my eyebrow goes up that we're probably going to see this. I think I understand Epic is maybe in there, and
you're interested, baby.
Yeah, so
But on the other side of that coin, we've got Valve Corp. With their tip of the spear Steam platform for those PC games. They basically said no gracias.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they had a few bad experiences with a game, CSGO, I think, and then another game that had some skins and things that were getting heavily traded. The in-game economy had developed to a point, that I think maybe they saw a little bit of abuse going on there, as I understood it, and just stepped aside altogether. And I saw some, researching for this. I saw where maybe even some of the people that had jumped on board had taken a step back all of a sudden, as maybe actually there were some issues with a game or two, that had become popular. So, it's an emerging situation. But like I say, when you see those folks getting involved, and you can also understand the possibilities, and I do feel like at times I put a lot of time into these things. It would be nice to get some sort of reward for it, especially if I had a creative outlet as well. Other people enjoying something I created. So
exactly.
It makes it interesting.
Well, based off what we're kind of seeing here, and I don't know if we said this off the top, but we're kind of learning this here as we go with you, the listeners. It's new for us, so definitely don't take anything we're saying here as fact or as chiseled in stone, if you will. And we're not saying definitely go out there and start investing in blockchain games, but we're gonna do our best here. So it looks like they kind of have two realms. Like you have the blockchain game itself, which has let me step back. You got blockchain games and NFT games, which is basically, it looks like there's a developer out there that's going to create a blockchain game, and let's say they go ahead and within that game I saw a lot of examples where they were using a gold sword or a gold axe. So the developer says, all right, well, we're going to create 50 gold swords for this game. And then they'll bring players in and whatever, and then they'll allocate those swords or whatnot, or they'll be found within the map or something to that effect. But there's always only going to be 50 gold swords. And those are effectively NFTs, or non-fungible tokens. And man, we don't want to get too deep into all these definitions of what these things are, but just in short, an NFT it's a non-fungible token, which basically means it's an online we'll call it a currency. I don't want to call it a currency, but it's an item. It's a thing that cannot be replaced with a similar or equal thing. Like it can't be replaced. It can't be changed. It's immutable. It's not fungible. I don't know if that's. Can you help with this, Chuck?
Yeah. I feel like the blockchain kind of comes in to help right there. The fact that the exchange of that NFT is recorded on that ledger kind of gives it your rights to it.
We haven't really defined that yet, so we don't want to jump into blockchain, but only defining what an NFT is. In short, it's an item that cannot be replaced, is my understanding. If it's fungible, it can be. It can be replaced with an equal or partial amount of the same thing of the same nature. For example, oil. Oil is a fungible asset or item because it can be replaced. A non-fungible thing it cannot be replaced. Anyways, spending way too much time on that. So you got these 50 golden swords. Those are NFTs because they cannot be, there's only always going to be 50. So if you get your hands on one of those, you effectively own that non-fungible token. And it will always be that way. It will always be golden. You know, it may have an inlay. That inlay will never change. It might have a double edge that will never change. And you can actually earn that sword. You have it. You can continue playing the game. And then if you ever want to, even if the game fails or dies or ceases to exist, or they don't develop it anymore, whatever the case may be, you still own that sword. And you can bring it to the next game, or you can sell it, or you can trade it, instead of it just dying off with the game, like which is the experience with a lot of traditional games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the sound of that. You know, I could see, you know, a gun that maybe you're using in Call of Duty that you know you can port to the next version of Call of Duty. You know, I like the sound of that. You know, I think like anything, there's pros and cons. You can see potential for abuse there, and you know, I think if it does have a real value, you're going to have folks that want to game that system, and you know, I think that's where you get into some of the other you know, terminology that goes with this. Like that's why
that's where blockchain comes in.
Yeah, and it is. You know, the way I'd like to think of that, or trying, I'm grasping it at the moment, is just that if I buy that, or I establish ownership of that sword on that blockchain, on this ledger of sorts, that's why that's why there's only 50 of them, because no one else can pretend that there's another one, or that they bought that one somehow. Like, I have those rights established at that point.
In that blockchain,
that gives it value.
Well, maybe we should take advantage real quick and just like what's going on with this blockchain thing, just for anyone out there that hasn't actually said, you know, because in my case, I had heard about blockchain before, but I'm not going to lie to you, I really didn't know what it was. I kind of just like, oh, okay, my brain created a concept of what it could be, but I didn't actually know what it was. So just for fun. Yeah. What is blockchain
still
technology?
in that state, you know, myself. But if I took a stab at it, I would describe it as a decentralized ledger. You have a record of sorts that everyone can look at, and everyone's looking at the same record, so there's no dispute. It kind of makes it secure in that respect. And once you have the ability to do that, then you and I can do business and trust each other.
Got it.
As I you know, would be just my layman's terms, you know, definition of it. And, you know, I think you can see why it's important here.
Absolutely. That's pretty much what I got out of it as well, was an open access ledger, common knowledge, in that anyone that's involved in this blockchain environment. So let's tie it back into a game. What's that one game? It's like the most popular one, Axie Infinity. Mm-hmm. Axie Infinity. I think it's called Axie Infinity. So let's say we got Axie Infinity, and within that game, there's, I don't know if they have swords in that game. I really don't know, but let's say they got those 50 swords, and I have one of those golden swords, and then I sell it to ChukTomahawk. Mm-hmm. Axie Infinity is a blockchain game. So when I transferred my NFT golden sword over to ChukT, that transaction is recorded in a block, its own individual block, identified with its own numerical cryptography that is recorded in that ledger, as ChukT described, that blockchain ledger, that everyone in this gaming environment of Axie Infinity, or, you know, maybe there might be more games within that developer. I'm not 100% sure, because I haven't actually, you know, jumped into this. I don't have an account with Axie Infinity, for example, but it's recorded, and then there's no hacking it. There's no hubbub. There's no confusion. I traded my golden sword over to ChukT for whatever amount, or in exchange for whatever things, and then that's recorded, and that ownership now over my golden sword passes on to him, and it's recorded and it's secure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how I understand it as well. And, you know, I think where it gets a little gray for me is I also ran across that folks, like, you know, maybe are renting that sword out to other folks to use, and that's one of the way they're profiting off of it. And I'm not sure that gets recorded in the blockchain ledger. And
Which part?
you know, like say, what if I want to rent you that sword? Like you're getting ready to do some, games this weekend or whatever, and you're like, man, it sure would go better if I had that sword. I bet it would. Like, how much? What can you give me for that? Like, and I see you got one of those pink Pokemons I've been wanting over there.
I don't know if they have the temporary like leasing or provisional exchanges, but I'm sure it's only a matter of time, because I haven't actually like logged into any of these platforms and began my own blockchain game experience. So I couldn't tell you the ins and outs of the practical side of it. But if they haven't already created a mechanism to do that, where you can just temporarily like pass on the possession of an NFT, which could be a skin, a power up, a weapon booster, who knows what it could be. It depends on the game. If they don't have that in place already where you can temporarily exchange stuff, I'm sure they will. Cause I don't know if it's reached the gaming environment yet, the blockchain gaming environment, but in the regular crypto world, there are smart contracts. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how those smart contracts works, but that sounds like a smart contract type of thing where you're actually going into an agreement of sorts. Like, hey, I'm gonna lend you this gold sword over here for, 50, in-game credits or who knows whatever. But you got to return it and there's going to be an interest. Or if you don't return it, I might get this of your inventory. That's like that sounds like a hornet's nest right there to me, but hey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting too that a lot of the way they design these things, it doesn't necessarily go that way in the end. Like once human beings get involved and put their brains to thinking about how can I take advantage of this, the mechanisms that they've designed, like it doesn't always go that way. I think there's examples of that in Ark, like where folks use dinosaurs not necessarily what they were meant to be used for, like to ultimately they patch that or or something like that. So yeah.
Well, what are some other ways that you think there could be risk? Because that's kind of the whole idea, right? I mean, that's why that's why they want to use blockchain technology, because it's decentralized, because everyone can see who has what. Because another thing is, oh gosh, I lost my train of thought here. But supposedly, a lot of these risks are supposed to be negligible. Like a lot of the risks that come with that we could come up with in our minds. Because, for example, everyone sees what everyone has. The transactions are, everyone sees who transacts with who, and everything is finite. Like there's a counted amount of these NFTs. So I don't know. I just can't. Like some of the risks I could see is on the side of it actually not being a private issue. Like everyone's stuff is visible, and you can see who has what and how much of what and what it's worth, what it's going for, and there's virtually no privacy in that regard. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the dark sides that my brain was kind of tackling or struggling with. But otherwise, I don't know.
Yeah, I ran across something that sort of touched on that. Like I think in this blockchain situations, like they've kind of discovered with the cryptocurrency even, that there's what they call a trilemma, where you can, like we kind of mentioned how it's decentralization. The fact that everyone can see it is one of its strengths. Like, and they need decentralization, security, and scalability. And then the trilemma is that they can really only ever have two of those at any one time. Like it seems like what they do in one situation, like the more computers that you have looking at it, like that increases the decentralization, but at the same time, as you're mentioning, the privacy and security goes down because there's so many of them, and then the scalability, like if I have this game and I might be able to lock down the security with if we keep it in a few servers, but once you get it out to giant, all over the world to different servers, like then then the security again goes down. So
I have to push back. I have to push back on that because I might be wrong. But my understanding was that the security only got better the more people joined in on the ledger or the blockchain, which in this case would be like more people joining the game. The more people that join the game, the more that there is that decentralization, and the more the cryptography. Man, this is where I don't want to confuse anyone or even stumble on my own words, but like the more randomized the cryptography comes, the more people get involved. But maybe no, because I'm confusing people that participate in the game with proof of work and these folks that are like bringing their computers into the blockchain system, and I shouldn't be confusing those two. So,
well, and I think, then you get girth in the scalability there, like where all of a sudden, like people are looking at that we've got thousands of computers that are running, that are creating heat, that air conditioners have to be on. Like that's when all of a sudden, like, is it really necessary to have 1 million computers keeping this? Like it's actually using too much energy. So,
yeah. Well, I've heard about that whole discussion as well. Yeah, which now I'm starting to understand a bit more because I'm understanding the computing power required behind all of this stuff.
Yeah. You can see how this like trilemma, as they state it or whatever, sort of is an issue because. Like the decentralization, for example, like in these games, like if all of a sudden, like I decide I really love Axie Infinity and I start like a club and we start playing it, and the next thing you know, we've got 25% of the characters or whatever. It's not decentralized anymore. Like, or if we're all using one app to approach it, then again, it's not decentralized anymore. Like it's just
but that's the thing, Chuck T. It is, because that's why we gotta, like, we don't want to confuse the actual, and this is to my best understanding, but the gaming circle is one thing, but like, for example, one of the things we've been talking about are these NFTs. This all revolves around the in-game inventory, the stuff that you can create, own, transact. So where does all this stuff get stored? Because you own it. It's not stored in the game. You own it. It's yours. It's stored, to the best of my understanding, on a crypto wallet. So one of the gaming developers does all of their NFT holding with Ethereum, I think. Like, so you basically have to start an account with Ethereum, I believe, or I don't know how that works, but they do everything with Ethereum. So Ethereum is the blockchain. It's not the actual game, right? Or does that make sense? Like, so if within that gaming environment, you and your club have all of the 25% of the characters, or you have all of those 50 gold swords that I used as an example earlier, that doesn't mean that the actual blockchain itself has become decentralized. There's still people joining it, people joining Ethereum, people, computers, more and more computers coming into that environment, scaling up, creating more security, et cetera, however it happens to work. But, it doesn't actually decentralize the blockchain itself isn't becoming decentralized because of your monopoly on whatever item or character. You've just transacted more and you've done better and you've gained that advantage.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from with the actual ledger there, and I want to say like as it relates to gaming, it's probably not important to really nail this down. I feel like it's just that here's like a way we could possibly record these values that we've given to these skins and things, and possibly trade them in the future, and just know that there's many sub things I think that they're doing to attack each one of these possible shots you could take at it, and it's fairly secure. And you're exactly right, like Ethereum isn't like messing up the chain. I guess what I was just kind of getting at is like one of the terms I did sit down and try and play one of these games, and like I realized I needed a dApp at that point, and a dApp,
you needed a dApp?
It is a decentralized. Yeah, I
a dApp.
dab. Yeah, a decentralized app. Which is using a lot of like what we just described to kind of let me do business in there. I needed to take my money from my debit card and purchase some Ethereum to be able to play the game. It needed to be linked, and and that's another point. Is like I have a little bit of cryptocurrency, and it's with Coinbase, and there's been argument that Coinbase is like one of the strengths of these things, as I understand it, and like how it's different than say the dollar is that the dollar's ran with the Federal Reserve, and there's kind of this World Bank, this whole centralized system that's running it. Well, when everyone's running these ledgers and viewing them, it is decentralized. But as soon as you create an app like Coinbase that 30-40% of the people that are buying Ethereum are using it, like that centralizes that part of it. It doesn't centralize the blockchain, like you're right. It's still getting disseminated, like you're saying, but that gives them the power that we were trying to take away from the Federal Reserve and them. Like suddenly, if Coinbase says like your work isn't proving right, like we don't
see what you're saying. Yeah, man.
They suddenly get some leverage in the game. And
I see.
Yeah. It's
so,
almost like
and that's where those scams and rug pulls happen, where you get the rug pulled out from under you, man. Because I see what you're saying.
Yeah, well, and I mean, think back to I probably have a character somewhere on Xbox 360 that was really valuable to me, but now that they don't run those servers anymore for Battlefield 4 or whatever I was playing, like it's worthless now.
Your level whatever character with all the guns unlocked, all the skins, all the attachments.
Yeah, but 1996 or 2004, whenever that was, I might could have sold that 96. On eBay.
I don't think it was that old, man. Battlefield
I went 96. That was GoldenEye.
Pre-GoldenEye days, man.
So you could see how we're like the game I tried to play is called War Riders, and I think I originally saw the trailer and thought, man, I want to sit down and do this. I thought it couldn't be that hard, but I still got reservations, and they're exactly like the stuff you're hitting on, like the privacy and I didn't want to link my Coinbase wallet to that. Like that seemed like a bad idea.
No, senor.
And then I understood there was this thing that's where the dApp came in. Like I could basically use this company called MetaMask to be able to do a transaction through another party called Transac or something like this. Man. And I did it, man. and it didn't go through, and it said you'll get your money back in 2 to 3 days, and when I checked my bank, it had never and we're talking $20 here, so it's not like the end of the world whatever happens, but but
if you get $20 from 500 ChukTomahawks, man.
Oh, it's complicated, dude. It's incredibly complicated, and as I went and watched the videos, much like we do for other games that we like how to succeed in this game, once I realized once I do get in there, I'm gonna want to buy a better vehicle.
Don't tell people we watch those videos. No, listeners, we're naturally really good at these games that we play. It comes natural to us. We were born with that talent, and our thumbs just move that fast.
Yeah.
We do not watch videos on how to be better.
I just look for the dinosaurs. Oh, look, there he is.
Oh, it's that easy?
Oh,
sorry.
No, yeah. It just ultimately, for me, the experience kind of fell apart, and it's one of the reasons I feel like we need to introduce this as best we can and kind of look at these from a gamer perspective, and where's this going and where did it come from?
Well, and does it already exist? I mean, because I'm only really seeing one huge differentiating thing, and that's the ownership aspect, and that's shaky from what I've gathered here from my reading, and investigating this topic, because we've already got things like microtransactions in the games that we love. EA is very, a lot of people think of EA when they think of microtransactions. So we want to contrast those things. And then I think another thing we haven't touched on, we can jump into it now or in a little bit if you want, is the difference between just your classic NFT blockchain game versus play to earn, which does seem to be a little bit different, because it looks like in these play to earn games, I don't know if the initiation experience is the same. Like, I don't know if you have to pay to get in, or if you just get in for free and then you start, you donate your system to the cause, and that's how you get in, and then you start, playing. But it looks like in the play to earn scenario, you're actually earning cryptocurrency that gets transferred to your wallet, which in your case sounds like that app that you were talking about or whatever. But so there's also these play to earn games, which sounds, again, interesting, because then you can make some actual money, some pesos, baby.
As when I first sat down, I was thinking of naming this episode "Play to Earn Games," and at some point I ran across an article that kind of described play to earn games as a blockchain game. And then I saw NFT games as a different category, and I think other than that sort of like proof of ownership that ledger is giving us, I don't see a difference, in a regular NFT.
You mean a regular game with skins and power ups and art attachments, or are you comparing NFT with play to earn?
I guess I'm kind of looking at it like what is the difference, in these different parts, like play to earn and blockchain game and NFT game. I don't know that I've fully grasped that just yet.
Well, the way I understand it is, it really depends on the game. But like, let's go back to the example of the developer that creates a game with a certain amount of items, and he just creates the game that way. So you got a developer. Let's say he creates a survival type game, and in it, within the map, you can find up to 50 of this, 50 of that, 50 of so and so on and so forth. And then a certain amount of if gamers are invited in or whatever, like kind of like an initial release. And a lot of this, my brain is just making up to the best of my understanding of all this, which I know we've already said that a million times, but
yeah,
so
it's the truth.
So you got this game, and then boom, you start playing, and let's say you find one of those swords, and then you find another object, and then you find another item, and now you have 3 in-game items that are NFTs, non-fungible tokens, that you now own. They're your property, and that ownership is recorded on the blockchain. However, the extent of what you can do with that NFT is basically you can trade it, you can sell it, you can exchange it for other NFTs, you can leave it there and bring it into other games. And that's essentially the gist of it, in my understanding. Play to earn is very similar, of course, but you can actually play to earn cryptocurrency.
Are you picturing like a almost like even like a per hour type?
Perhaps
there?
Perhaps. I just what I'm getting at is that I see the play to earn focused blockchain games being more directed towards players in some way, shape, or form actively earning crypto. Let's use Ethereum as an example.
As kind of the point of the game, almost. Like
that's what really
rather than a side benefit, like a skin for something else.
Oh, cool, I own the skin, but I'd rather make some dough. Yeah. And that kind of leads me back to that example that you were talking about. I don't know if it was on the mic or off the mic, but like in Arc, where you can like wait, was it an Arc? But you were using an example of
like breeding dinosaurs and selling them or something. Or
I don't remember. Gosh, I totally lost my train of thought there. But just actually making money within the game, effectively,
Yeah, like something that you can design yourself, and or something that you obtain, that like say a blueprint that you sold.
Yeah, there we go. So, for example, let's say in a game, in a play to earn game, you can collect resources from specific places on the map, and then with those resources you can create any set of items, and then maybe you can personalize that item. Let's say you have to gather a certain amount of metal, a certain amount of leather, a certain amount of ivory, and then you combine those items within the game environment to create that gold sword. And then you also give it an inlay and you paint it a certain way. You give it a certain design, a certain look, certain polishing, and then boom, that item as it's evolved has always been your NFT, but then you can go and sell it.
Yeah.
And then I guess it depends on the focus of the game. If it's focused around exchange of skins, attachments, power-ups, which are all just NFTs, or if it's focused around NFT creation and sale. Because as we saw, a lot of these developers as well, whenever one of these transactions takes place, they get a fee. So they might be, they want to incentivize the player base to be busting a move, creating those non-fungible tokens so that there's an asset that can be sold within the gaming environment, or better said, transacted, as they say.
Yeah.
Is that it? Did I just hit it? Did I just hit the nail on the head right there a little bit?
I think especially when you say the incentive part, like that's the thing. Like I think you got these guys behind it, like, trying to get you to sort of behave in a certain way, and that just doesn't seem like how it goes. Like people are complex, like, and they almost sense, like I can almost sense when it's being incentivized. Like in Call of Duty, when I see this really expensive skin or bundle that's going to give me a gun and
an emblem and a token, like a times two experience.
I've heard people like theorize that they buff those things to get people to buy them, and yeah, I see a lot of potential for abuse there. Like I think we're kind of hitting on from a gamer perspective how this could be really good, and how it could actually add some flavor. But I almost feel like the world, that this is creating has got a ton of other, pitfalls. It seems like. Like balancing, for example, and all of a sudden you introduce this mighty sword into the game. Like, if I'm just walking through and one-shotting every boss, like does that take away the fun of the game for me? And is it fair to the folks that don't have this thing? And if you basically got it because you have a bunch of money, like, wow, that.
Well, yeah, there's that, and then like if you have a sword or a weapon or an item that has like certain stats in one game, that'll probably if the one you described sounds like a very powerful weapon, so that'll create a lot of demand around that item, and then you got, and then you got, who knows, youngsters or oldsters or whatever agers just buying these things that we're doing that already though. We're buying stuff online, it's just that ownership aspect. But yeah, like you said, like if I own that sword and it's super hyper powerful, one of the details about all these NFTs is that they're supposed to be interchangeable between NFT games.
Like porting them, yeah.
Yeah, like you'll always have your wallet with your NFTs in it, right? Because ultimately what this just boils down to, a wallet, a crypto wallet with your NFTs in it, that you can use in these blockchain games, really. So it's just giving you ownership over that stuff that we use in all these video games that we love. So, but what if within that wallet though you have like, you know what I'm saying, like that Growl from Warzone that's just freaking laser beaming people, and you want to take it over to the next game, but in that game, like, is it balanced the same way? Does it still beam people the same way? Are you gonna get the same KD with it? Can you still melee with it? Like, that seems like a headache for development on the development side. Like, I don't know how they address that, making sure all their games match or something.
It does, and I'm almost picturing like say in a lot of these survival games where we seek out these sort of unofficial servers. Like maybe I make my server so it says no gold swords allowed, and that becomes the trend, and suddenly your sword isn't worth what it was.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Gosh, I could see that becoming a thing too.
Well, I mean, you could see why that might happen. I mean, we run across that all the time, like where the game's been modded to some effect, and I could see that.
No, they wouldn't do that. That would go against like terms of service or something. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't block out NFTs from an NFT game. You know what I mean? Or something like that.
But boy, can't you just imagine that?
What are you trying to do? Bringing that golden gun over here with your James Bond ass? You know what I'm saying? One shot people over here in Axie Infinity or something. I don't know.
Oh man, it just seems like when you tell people they can't, though, like they try to game that system and ultimately I think it probably makes it stronger as it gets tested, and the strength of that ledger probably shows itself. But I don't know. Well, I see a few good scenarios here, but I see just about as many scary ones.
Yeah. Well, if you had to just like, in simple terms, what makes a blockchain NFT game different from a traditional game with its in-game items, in your opinion? The main thing.
I think once you've gone through that process of linking a wallet that actually is, like part of your treasure, your money,
your financial portfolio.
Yeah. Like it's a whole different ballgame, brother. Like, I mean, cause
Don't be calling Charles Schwab to tell him about that one.
Yeah. It's all
so
like
guess what I did on Friday?
Yeah. It's like, you think this is a good idea? They mentioned that there in
call your
CPA
financial broker,
there, buddy.
Yeah. So Carl, I just signed up for this game out of Vietnam.
Yeah. Turns out I'm going to need to buy a van and a lot of guns for it to be able to compete in the War Rider game, and it's going to pay off, I swear. Like, yeah, it's scary. I think that's it. Like I say, there's money involved, and
well, I gotta push back again. Then there's money involved in traditional in-game items as well. So, what makes them different? Like, what is the main thing? I think it's ownership. Whether, and we're all, what is ownership in this case, really? It's just a construct in our brains, like with money, like, do I have my money, or is it just in a bank account that I can look on my phone? So in this regard, it's also just another construct in our heads. But I think if we had to boil it down, the main difference is, technically speaking, you own these items in a blockchain game. They are yours. Mm-hmm. I think that's the main difference.
Yeah, and it could be proven in a court of law, even that they're yours, and according to the terms, it makes that pretty solid, and that is a huge difference.
But we are not lawyers, ladies and gentlemen, and that was not legal advice.
Correct. All right. Yeah. So that's definitely a difference. And
what does the risk look like if a gamer gets involved in blockchain gaming? Like, is it the same caliber of risk as we see, like, getting involved in, I don't know, Bitcoin proper, Ethereum proper, or like even traditional stock market trading, day trading, stuff like that? Do you think there's risk, like that kind of risk? I mean,
it's kind of
you
in a
mentioned
convoluted
that
way. Like I don't necessarily see it the same as investing, but I guess I'm kind of like drawing an analogy here of a trip to Vegas, and like you get to Vegas and you hear all the bells and whistles going off those slot machines, and or
go down
see
the drag,
blackjack table, and you think to yourself, like, man, I played a few games of cards. Like, why don't I jump in here? And meanwhile, you're standing in a building that's about 100 stories tall, and there's gold all over the walls and stuff that's been, kind of paid for the people that had the same thought, and the house has collected that money. And I guess I'm just, yeah, I'm feeling like once you sort of put your money in a game, like it's definitely at risk to some degree, but I don't see it as in, you know, like as far as like I say to myself, I've got $1,000 and I want to, you know, save it and I want it to produce some income for me, a passive income. Is this, you know, purchasing a really nice setup for a blockchain game probably a good ideal of a way to make money? I don't think so. But as far as, you know, having some fun and earning some money on the side, yeah. But I think just, man, you know, you hit that slot machine one time there in Vegas, and next thing you know, like you've put winnings back in there. And
if I could just get this attachment, if I could just get that skin, if I could just get that that boost, that power up.
Yeah. And I hate the fact that it seems like it favors the wealthy. Like it favors the folks that have more money to buy the better thing. And you know, I hope that these games include some way that, you know, if it says it's free to play, I should be able to compete to some level and like raise myself up from the ashes to have that badass attachment, you know, rather than just solely being able to do it with money. That you know, that I feel like has a decentralizing effect, you know, which,
well, that also goes to speak kind of like about what kind of gamers could or might be interested in blockchain gaming or playing to earn, right? Because another thing came to my mind is like, you know, a lot of gamers are minors, dude. Like they're not of age, you know, and it just, you know, but I don't think they're going to discriminate or just like stop when they find blockchain before the game and not play it. You know, they're going to play these games. They're out there. I'm sure there's plenty of young kids playing blockchain games, and I just wonder what that interaction's like. You know, like are they grabbing mom's credit card from out the wallet? You know?
You've already heard of that, like with these in-game purchases. And I wanted to share a funny story with you. I was playing Warzone the other day, like trying to level up some guns, and there was a guy like that had a mic, and he was having a conversation with his wife, and you could tell that she was pissed that he was, you know, probably in her mind wasting his time on that freaking game. And she was like coming in front of him apparently or something, and he was like, you know, well, why don't you just do that, like, you know, here, and like this argument ensued. And you know, I just felt like I could sense almost that environment, like you say, like he was wasting his time, he was gaming, you know, and I feel like this is kind of a common argument. I've saw, you know, TikTok audio, and I feel like, you know, if you were actually, you know, if some money was showing up in the checking account each month from me doing that, like,
oh, I see where you're going with this.
Changes that environment a little bit, like, you know, it's like,
but only for but what I was getting at is like for minors, dude, because when I suspect, I don't know from experience, but I suspect that when you open a crypto wallet, you need to be an adult. You know, you need to be of age. You know, with a little beard going, maybe a little stash, you know, maybe a little back hair. I don't know, but you need to be an
I
adult.
had to show a driver's license.
Show a driver's license.
I had to.
Little ear hair.
You would be amazed at how high level it was. It felt as much as if I'd had my ID checked at the airport or something. I literally had to send in a shot of my face. Like,
damn, bro.
Yeah, it face scanned.
you better make sure that someone's keeping an eye on your identity and stuff. Geez.
I mean, yeah. Hey,
man.
I did it for the listeners. You know what I mean? They were going to want a real world experience here.
Chuck D is dedicated to you, listeners. He is dedicated to you and providing you with quality over quantity, baby. No, but like, so that's what I'm getting at. Like, so if minors, that would lead me to believe that minors aren't going to have access to these games. And if that's the case, then that's a huge chunk of the pie right there. That's a huge market share. You know, young kids, gamer. I mean, I don't want to say the
My
majority,
dad
but
had
I'd
his
say the
liquor cabinet locked too, but that didn't stop me from getting in there. There's a globe that has water in it right now. I'm sure.
But you know what I'm saying though? Like that's something that came to my mind, like just thinking about some of the more nuanced like aspects of this whole environment.
I think you're dead on. Like yeah, kids shouldn't be allowed for sure.
Well, I don't mean that. I'm not going to be one to say they shouldn't. I mean, maybe they shouldn't. Maybe it's fair to say that. But I'm no one to tell anyone what to do. But if that is the case, that's a huge chunk of the gaming market that is out of reach. At least it would seem. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, we all find a way.
Yeah. It almost like it seems to attract kids, when you tell them not to do it. But
yep.
But yeah, there's got to be some regulation there, and I think the intent of the leadership of this would be, to regulate that, and it be a parental choice. Maybe there's some avenue here for learning about money and trustworthy handling of it and investing and things like that. But a lot of potential for. I guess for me to rent out my sword to some kids or to have them mining for me to get that silk that we needed, or I don't know.
That's the thing, man, and I would be lying if I said that I was just completely uninterested or felt that it was a completely bad idea. That wouldn't be true. I mean, I have my reservations. I would certainly do a lot more investigating before actively getting involved in blockchain gaming. Me personally, Ovox. But if playing to earn sounds very attractive to me, and that just leads me back to what kind of gamer is interested in this type of stuff. What should that gamer look like? And if it was me, like, man, if I was one that spent a lot of time gaming or participating in gaming / content creation / maybe my regular job had something to do with working in finances. If you're that person, or if you're a person that is actively in the markets managing a portfolio, but you also like to game and you spend a lot of time on the laptop or on the console, man, there might be something here. Very attractive. Very attractive. Yeah. And if I had to say, okay, Ovox, well, what kind of game would bring you in, would attract you into, what would make you take that step? It would probably be a game where I would be willing to pay an initial fee, like I do with all of these games that we love. Happy to do so. The developers created something that brings value to me, so I'm happy to give them a specified fixed amount for that experience, that product, which is a game. Let's call it any traditional game. So yeah, I'd be willing to pay an initial fee, but then from there, I would want to have it securely linked to a reliable wallet that I know I can have liquidity with. I think that's the technical word, where I know I can get that money out if I want it and need it promptly. I don't want to have to wait weeks or something, or processing or whatever, to get my NFT or my money if I'm playing to earn. And I'd want to be able to use the in-game assets and mechanics to farm, build, or craft and create something unique with my own creative touch that could be of interest to someone else in that gaming environment, and that I could sell it to for crypto. Mm-hmm. And then I could transfer that crypto to my wallet to real life money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That would sound interesting to me. But I don't know if it was a game where, you can just somehow get your hands on NFTs that you cannot necessarily sell, but you can only trade or keep ownership of and bring on to future games. That wouldn't be as appealing to me.
No,
because I mean, I don't even spend money on traditional game items, really. You know, if we go back to the Warzone example, you know, I've never paid money for any special skins, blueprints, or boosters, or you know, none of that stuff.
I guess I know I've certainly paid time for those things.
Yes, that's true.
You know, when I wanted to get that skin for you know, my katana sticks or whatever, Cali sticks, it took a while. You know, I question.
And they
like,
make it that way on purpose, man, so that you just like, gosh, do I want to spend the time or do I just want to spend $4.99? You know, $4.99.
Yeah. And if you think of time as money, you know, that I probably could have been doing something else, maybe playing a play to earn video game during that time. Like, yeah, but I was also having a good time, and it gave me a goal and a focus, and you know, I think took my mind off my other problems. Like there's tons of other, you know, benefit that you know, made me see that as a goal I chose to seek. But I'm imagining a scenario here. Let's just say like I was just doing this as a whim or whatever, and you know, I got some Ethereum, but the market of Ethereum suddenly blew up. And even though I only had a little bit, like suddenly I had made a ton of money from my video game.
Well, hold on now. Are you talking about your Ethereum coinage proper in your wallet, or are you talking about the NFTs that you hold within your Ethereum wallet?
I guess I'm thinking of a scenario like where I've gotten like more like paid like in-game coin, but it's really small. Like it you know, it's a play to earn game. It's not necessarily based around the NFTs or some skin or special sword that I've gotten. I've just, as I understand that War Riders game, I think you can just earn some money, like
straight up Ethereum.
Like just like you found a coin, like literally, like you know, and it's worth a little bit, and you could, you know, use it for this or that. And yeah, and but also realize these things are in, you know, sort of a market that you know, that has been incredibly volatile lately, like, you know, and so
yeah, man,
it recently went down, but it could easily go up again. And you know, I think it could hook you at that point. And you know, you get to yourself thinking, man, why am I showing up and working every day, you know, at my job when I just made twice what I make in a month, you know, with this video game, and then you quit your job and then it falls back down, and you know.
Yeah, see, those are the hardcore decisions that I don't think anyone should necessarily be making. You know what I mean? Because
I don't think we're there yet.
No,
I
because
think that's
I mean,
down the road.
It is. I think it's going to happen. I completely agree with you on that. It needs a little refining, but it's a thing. It's going to. I mean, dare I say, this is the future. I mean, it's the present, but it's also the future. But just needs a little refining. But yeah, behind all of this, we're still talking about, well, blockchain, of course, but crypto. Now we're talking a little bit about cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrencies in themselves are still, to date, you know, not everyone believes in it. You know, it's volatile, as you said. And it in itself needs refining still, I think. Not that I know anything about these topics, really. Don't listen to me. I don't have any cryptocurrency.
I think, honestly, you know, even researching this episode and what it's making me do is kind of reconsider the system that we're working with anyway. Like it kind of points out some of the, you know, the downfalls of capitalism in some respects, and you know, I'm all for our system of government. I'm super proud of.
You're not hating?
No, you know, I've heard that saying, you know, that democracy is the worst form of government except for all the others, and like, that's kind of how I feel.
Well, I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's tough. There are winners and losers, and there's ways that it could be better, you know, all the way through there. But you know, these sort of in-game economies that get created are just kind of a necessity of human interaction that I see in trade and barter. And as I've looked at these systems, I've looked back at the dollar, and like you see that progression that it went from being backed. At first it was like actual gold, and then it was paper backed by gold, and then they did away with the gold. You know, there's a lot of faith going on there, and I think through this,
it's all a mental construct, man. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it is a mental construct. It certainly is, and our confidence in it is literally what provides that value. Yeah, and when that goes away, you know, we mentioned
the little green line turns red and starts to go down.
Yeah, it's scary, and it. You know, I just feel like we've been in a, you know, since the pandemic started in a time period where a lot of these sort of pillars of society have been questioned and, you know, re-examined in a way that I didn't necessarily expect in my lifetime.
Well, there's definitely some re-examination of video games going on, because this play to earn, very fascinating thing. I'm certainly interested in. I definitely want to. Gosh, I mean, I want to give it a try, but I don't think it's going to happen yet. I'm gonna let it stew for a little bit longer, I think, before I give it a shot. But I'm definitely interested in seeing, you know, what it really looks like for the individual when the rubber meets the road. You know, that process that you said you were checking out to try out. What was it? War Riders?
It was. And one of my takeaways of that is I see a gap here. I see like there's someone can create a user interface that I can interact with that I can understand. You know, where when I suddenly got in there and it was wanting me to, you know, send money certain ways, something that facilitates that for me. Like I give them my $20 and they say, okay, we take one of these dollars. But we'll figure this out for you. We'll get you set up with a car and, you know, and everything, and get you started earning money. Because
maybe they could do that with like gift cards and just throw them in all the Ralphs and Fred Meyers and 7-Elevens. Throw a bunch of like Ethereum blockchain game gift cards in all of the places where you can just right there at the store, you can just give the clerk $20 and they'll give you your gift card, and you just scratch off the code, type it in on your computer there, and boom, you got your 20 units of, you know, Ethereum or whatever the crypto happens to be, and boom, you get to gaming.
Yeah.
Hey.
And I think that
you heard it here first, game developers, if that ever becomes a thing. We won't ask for too much a percentage.
Yeah, you know, I'm not saying that I can eventually like wade my way through it and get in there, and I probably will, just because I do feel like, you know, that if it started being successful, I think my tune would change. Like if I was reporting back to you, you know, like, hey man, I actually made some money last you know, and you're pretty good on those games. Like if we teamed up, like we could really make some money, you know, like, I don't know, like,
but that's the thing. Like, and this is where I have to tread lightly, because I don't know what the heck I'm talking about, but, like, is it actually money though? You know, cause like, it's like, oh, hey, you've, so and so much Ethereum has been transferred to your account. And then it shows like, you know, War Riders game, blockchain game, blah, blah, blah. And you got this money transferred to your account because you were successful in a battle or something like that. You know, but okay. You know, is that actually money?
It's money like a collectible baseball card or Pokemon card is money. You know, it's like I can sit there and look in a book and say, these have traded at this amount and mine's in this condition. And, you know, technically it's probably worth this, but as far as, you know, me being able to slap it down at Walmart, no. And
see, then we're not making money. In my book, we're not making any money then. Because I need to be able to walk down. I think if I follow it
all the way through. Now
I need to walk down to the taqueria and La Tiendita where they sell my, you know, the horchata and the tamales.
Let me take you to the NFT taqueria then, baby. Did you read about OpenSea as you were looking through researching for this episode? Did you come across something called OpenSea?
No.
So OpenSea is as I understand it, the eBay of NFTs, and that's where I would go. And let's say that I accumulated some attachments, those guns in that War Rider game, and I would get on OpenSea and I would put, that they were available. And once I sold it for that coin, and then I took that coin and got my real dollars for, then I could make a strong argument that I've made some money.
Where do you do that part? That's the part I'm talking about. Like, okay, you're on OpenSea.
At your wallet.
I'm really glad you brought that up, because I'm sure a lot of people were going to be asking, well, where do you actually sell these things? So OpenSea. So, okay, I sell my Super Scope attachment for a dope weapon on OpenSea, and I got, 20 Ethereum for it, which probably way too much, but let's just say I got that, or I got 2 Ethereum. How do I turn around and turn that cryptocurrency into actual human money that I can take in and buy some?
You sell the Ethereum for dollars.
Okay.
I would go in, like I say, I put it in my Coinbase wallet, like I, where I have that money that I invested previously in there in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I would just say, yeah, I'm selling today, just like if I was selling my Coca-Cola stock or whatever.
Yep.
With Edward Jones or something, some broker facilitating that. Like Coinbase essentially is the broker at that point, and they would send the dollars. Like I've only done that transaction in the opposite way. I've traded, like I initially invested in Bitcoin and it went up, and I took those profits and bought other altcoins, and I've seen that process go down, and yeah, that's how that worked. But like you hit someone, I find like how do I pay taxes on that, and those kind of questions, and it gets real muddy. Like it seems like I haven't gotten a lot of straight answers about that.
Well, down here in Mexico, with I talked to an accountant once about this, and it may have changed already, or I may be just completely wrong. But basically, like you'll have your traditional bank account, and you can have a crypto account, and when you transfer that crypto or you sell it or however it works into regular dollars that you then transfer over to a traditional account, it's at that moment when you transfer to the regular account the funds, it's at that moment when it becomes a taxable event. And that's where like the Mexican gov will come in and be like, okay, well, of all that crypto that you sold, it came out at 100,000 pesos, and that's 100,000 pesos of profit, so here's the tax margin on that, and then they'll take their chunk, and then you'll get your dough.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure when I called you and said, hey, I made some money, I wouldn't be counting that. I would say I made $130, and you'd be exactly right. I'd be getting more like 112, or something after the taxes. Yeah, after I'd converted it, and yeah.
Or I don't know if they just actively take that and then it hits your account, or if the full amount hits your account and you have the responsibility to declare it, and then they'll take it. But basically that's when it becomes a taxable event down here in Mexico, to the best of my understanding. But yeah, it was interesting. I watched a video of a kid, that was kind of to try to walk you through it on YouTube, and he was like, he said, like, I made $130, and when he showed why, he basically showed the things that he had attained and their value on OpenSea. But yeah, there's a leap of faith there. You're exactly right. And yeah, that's a little clickbaity, because it leads you to believe that this guy had like 130 fat ones in his wallet, like his physical wallet. Like, I made $130 US, right? That's probably what it seemed like. But when you get in there and you see what the video, it's like, oh, okay, he has all these NFTs that equal the amount of whatever the dollars is,
Right, because when I go to buy it, like those guns, and they're going for 130, I want to get them for 120. I mean, what?
Buy low, sell high. Yeah.
Like, so he's not factoring that in there either. I mean, somebody that, maybe somebody paid 130 or whatever. I mean, it's kind of like having $1 million elephant or whatever. You got to have a buyer, so.
Yeah. Oh man, God, this is like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel excited about all of this, and at the same time, I feel like it's all just what's the expression? Smoke and
mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors,
Well,
Chuck T.
I kind of want to. Like, I feel like one of the reasons we're here as gamers at this topic is I keep hearing things about the metaverse, and you saw Facebook change their name to Meta, and
just confusing my ass again. Man,
every time I see something about the metaverse, it looks a lot like a gaming lobby to me. And I feel like we've had that for 20 years in gaming.
Man, I still want them to go back to the original format of Facebook, man, back in 2000, like, I don't know, 10. When they made I remember the very first time they changed the interface. It's like, what is this? What? Why's the friend list over here now? You know, I'm just getting all angry and stuff. like, hell with this. Bring back MySpace. Oh, jeez.
Oh, my God. I was there and first ever heard about Facebook. Like someone actually, your cousin explained to me what Facebook was. It's like sitting right there.
I'm going to have to bleep those out.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to bleep those names out.
Still, yeah. It's I feel like going back to, like I said, I saw some things about the metaverse, and it looks a lot like a gaming lobby to me, and I do feel like sort of these open worlds and things that we're familiar with in some of these video games are gonna kind of show up in this universe as well, and it's one of the reasons why I feel like it's important to us, and I think why we should do this episode. Is just that, yeah, we're not the experts on this, but it's coming to gaming. I feel like, and hopefully in a good way, and
yeah, it's definitely coming.
Proceed with caution.
That's really the end game with this, I think. That's certainly what I would want to transmit with this episode is it's coming. No, it's here. It's getting better. It's getting refined. It's not going to go away. And proceed with caution. I think like whenever I like watch or check out or listen to financial stuff, whether it's like personal finance podcasts or just, resources on how to handle your personal finances better, everyone always says the same thing. Do not invest in something that you do not understand.
Mm-hmm. So
I don't know if that's actually good financial advice. It seems like all the financial pros are saying that. I've kind of been doing my, I go by that. So I think it's good advice with this too, because, it really just falls under the umbrella of blockchain. NFTs are a form of, are they a form of currency, man? Do they count as a form of currency? Do we have a definition for, we kind of defined it, but is it a currency? What do you think? Anyways, it's something that it involves your money at the end of the day. It involves, online platforms. So just be careful if you're going to dabble in blockchain gaming, especially if they ask for your, bank account information. Oh, here we go. NFT is a financial security. That's it. NFT is a financial security consisting of digital data stored in a blockchain, a form of distributed ledger. The ownership of an NFT is recorded in a blockchain and can be transferred by the owner, allowing NFTs to be sold and traded. NFTs can be created by anybody and require few or no coding skills to create one. Well, okay. Yeah, so what else do you got, Chuck T?
Yeah, I think definitely ran across some interesting stories about these things, and I think that concept of Web3. Did you run across that as you were looking at this? Like, and I again, not something I'm some kind of expert on, but as I understand it, like I remember this time, like when everyone was getting a website, like, and I would consider that like Web 1. Like I first started hearing about, I think one of the first times I got on the internet was to find some Fish songs or something, like download some jam band I liked there in college, so I could.
You trying to get on that Napster?
Get that free music, and that's one of the first things I did on there.
Yeah, when we were burning CDs back in the day.
Yeah, so I went on there, and I remember at that time, like maybe even my brother-in-law had some website design sort of thing, and so let's consider that Web 1. First hearings of the internet. You're doing email. You're having a website. Web 2 was more social media. Like you had the Facebook and like. You see what that was designed for, like, and it was supposed to bring us closer together, but in some ways it's kind of like created a whole
division.
yeah. And so here with Web3, I think the blockchain is kind of one of the pillars of its existence, and this metaverse, and it's kind of an ideal of sorts. It doesn't exist. It's not a real thing at this point, but I do feel like video games are going to be a part of it, and that's why this is important to us. And you can already like draw these correlations of these in-game economies and how they can be monetized and possibly benefit from the blockchain in that respect. So yeah, stay tuned, and I hope just us driving by this like helps some people to figure out what they want to know next, and just realize if you do sit down and want to play one of these, it's not easy, and you're gonna have to learn some new things, new terminology, and it's a bit of a leap of faith. So yeah, again, proceed with caution and have fun with it.
Yeah, do your homework. Cross off those boxes. Who, what, when, where, why, how much. Is it worth it? And I think that's all I've got, Chuck T, for blockchain games. I'll definitely be keeping my eyes open, my ears open, and if I see anything that looks fun, survival-esque, maybe we could give it a shot. As long as they don't ask for my bank account.
I'll maybe keep on.
Which they're gonna do.
I'm fairly comfortable with it. I definitely balked, a couple times, but then I sat there for a minute and got back in there. So maybe I'll do that again.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us in this episode. We hope you found it at least kind of relatively entertaining. It's definitely a very interesting topic. Be careful out there. If you gonna dabble in it, maybe talk to financial advisors, but they'll maybe not, because they'll probably tell you you're crazy for wanting to get financially involved in video games. So
yeah,
hey, that's not the best idea.
Exactly.
Whatever you do,
Tell
do not
Chuck
call
T
Chuck T or myself for NFT gaming advice. We would be the worst people to give you any advice in this regard. But definitely keep enjoying the traditional games in the meantime. I know we are. You've been enjoying that new Arc map? I haven't been on there yet.
I really have. Our particular server had a little hiccup with it there the other day, so that's been a bit frustrating. But yeah, the new teams are super cool, and we've been playing that forest game too. That's I don't know if everybody out there's been into that. That's been fun too.
I was gonna say, do you want to wrap this thing up? We can play a little bit of the forest.
Yeah, let's do it.
Everyone out there, Chuck T and I are going to go tangle with some cannibals in the forest for a little bit. We really hope you enjoyed this one again. Show us some love there on the social media if you like. You can give us a review if you like there on the Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify as well. We're on the YouTubes. And we
blockchain.
The blockchain gang. Gang. All right, man. Let's stop.
Take that to the blockchain.
Oh gosh. Let's stop wasting these people's time.
Peace.
Thank you, everybody.